the night you stop being the old self. What if you could go to sleep tonight carrying one version of yourself and wake up tomorrow, feeling that something inside you has quietly changed? Not loudly, not dramatically, not like a miracle that shakes the room, but in a smaller, deeper way, a calmer first thought, a softer breath, a little less fear in the body, a little more space between the old reaction and the new choice. Tonight, you are not here to force yourself to become someone else. You are here to let the old self loosen its grip. Because the person you think you are may not be the whole truth. It may only be a pattern repeated for so long that your mind began to call it identity. The anxiety, the doubt, the heaviness, the belief that you always return to the same place. These may not be your true nature. They may be shadows from an older story. Long ago, Plato spoke of people watching shadows on a wall and mistaking them for reality. In a quiet way, many of us do the same with ourselves. We look at the shadow of past failure and say, "This is me." We look at the shadow of old fear and say, "This is my personality." We look at the shadow of yesterday and assume it must become tomorrow. But tonight, before sleep, that assumption begins to soften. The moment before sleep is not ordinary. It is the doorway between the conscious mind and the deeper mind. During the day, your mind argues, judges, protects, compares, and remembers. But at night, as the body relaxes and the world grows quiet, the subconscious becomes more open to images, feelings, and repeated truths. This is why the final thoughts before sleep matter. They are seeds. A thought carried into sleep does not simply disappear. It sinks into the inner soil. A feeling repeated every night becomes familiar. An identity whispered with enough calmness begins to feel possible. So tonight, we will not fight the old self. We will not shame it, attack it, or try to destroy it. We will simply stop feeding it with the same thoughts. You will breathe differently. You will listen differently. You will place a new image into the deeper mind. And as you drift closer to sleep, you may begin to feel that the old story is not as solid as it once seemed. Before we begin, write in the comments, "I am ready to become new." Let that sentence be a quiet signal to your subconscious. Not a demand, not a desperate wish, a permission. Tonight, you are allowed to release what no longer belongs to you. You are allowed to stop repeating the version of yourself that was built from fear. You are allowed to rest as the person you are becoming. Now take a slow breath in and gently let it go. Imagine a door made of soft moonlight appearing in front of you. Behind that door is not a stranger. It is the calmer, clearer, freer version of you that has been waiting beneath the noise. And when you are ready, step toward it. Because this is the night you stop believing that yesterday has the right to define tomorrow. Chapter 1, The Door. Between waking and dreaming, there is a moment every night when you are no longer fully awake, but not yet fully asleep. The room is still around you. The bed still holds your body. Your breath still moves in its quiet rhythm, and yet something inside the mind begins to loosen. The sharp edges of the day soften. The voice that was worrying, judging, planning, and remembering slowly steps back. This is the doorway between waking and dreaming. Most people pass through it without noticing, carrying the same final thought into sleep night after night. For one person, it may be, "I am so tired." For another, "Nothing ever changes." For someone else, "I am falling behind." And when the same sentence follows you into sleep often enough, the deeper mind may begin to treat it not as a thought, but as a truth. Elena did not realize this at first. She lived in a small apartment in Seattle, above a quiet street where the rain often touched the windows long after midnight. Every night, she lay beneath the same pale ceiling and listened to the city fade into the background. She was not in a crisis that anyone could clearly see. She went to work. She answered messages. She smiled when people expected her to smile. But when the room became dark, one sentence always returned. "I am falling behind." It came so naturally that she stopped questioning it. She carried it into sleep like a stone in her hand. And each morning she woke with the same heaviness already waiting in her chest. Then one night, she was too tired to fight herself. She did not try to think positively. She did not try to fix her whole life before morning. She simply closed her eyes and imagined a door. It stood in front of her in the dim space of the mind, made of soft moonlight, almost transparent, as if it had been waiting there for years. Behind her was the familiar room of old thoughts. Ahead of her was darkness, but it did not feel empty. It felt quiet, like soil before a seed begins to grow. At first, Elena wanted to push the door open. That was the way she had learned to change. Push harder, try more, blame herself when nothing moved. But the door did not respond to pressure. So she stopped pushing. She placed her hand against it gently, and the door opened. In that moment, something in her understood what the waking mind often forgets. The new self does not open through force. It opens through permission. You do not leave an old pattern by attacking it every night. You begin to leave it when you stop carrying it into sleep as if it were your name. Perhaps there is a sentence you have carried for too long. Maybe it says you are not enough. Maybe it says you always fail. Maybe it says you are too late, too damaged, too tired, or too far from the life you wanted. But tonight, that sentence does not need to be the final voice inside you. Tonight, you are standing at the door. You do not need to break it down. You do not need to prove you are ready. You only need to approach it with a softer kind of courage, the kind that does not shout, but chooses differently in the quiet. Now, let your body settle a little more deeply into the place beneath you. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw soften. Let the space around your eyes relax, as though your body understands that nothing more needs to be solved right now. Take a slow breath in and gently let it go. Imagine the moonlit door in front of you. Behind you are the thoughts you have repeated for too long. They are not enemies. They are only echoes. Ahead of you is a quieter space, where a new image of yourself can begin to form. Place your hand on the door. Do not push. Simply say within yourself, "Tonight I release the old version of me." Breathe again. And now say, "Tonight I allow a new self to rise." Let those words sink beneath the surface of the mind. Let them move past doubt, past effort, past the need to understand everything before change can begin. The door between waking and dreaming is open now. And as you pass through it, you do not need to know exactly who you will become by morning. You only need to trust that the version of you built from fear is not the only version available. There is another self waiting in the quiet, and tonight, you have taken the first step toward it. Chapter 2: The Shadow on the Wall. After you step through the door between waking and dreaming, you may find yourself in a quiet room within the mind. It is dim, but not frightening. It feels old, almost ancient, as though many versions of you have stood here before. On one side of the room there is a wall, and across that wall, shadows begin to move. Some shadows carry the shape of old memories. Some carry the voice of people who once made you feel small. Others are not images at all, but sentences you have repeated so many times that they began to sound like truth. I am not enough. I always fall behind. I am weak. I never really change. Long ago, Plato described human beings sitting inside a cave, watching shadows on a wall and believing those shadows were reality. They had seen them for so long that the shadows became their world. And in a quiet way, this can happen inside a person's identity. When you stare at the same fear for many years, it begins to look like your nature. When you listen to the same inner sentence every night, it begins to sound like your own voice. But a shadow is not the thing itself. It may look large in the dark. It may stretch across the wall and seem powerful. Yet it only exists because something has come between you and the light. Michael had lived with one shadow for most of his adult life. He lived in Chicago, in a small apartment near the train line, where the sound of passing cars and distant metal wheels often moved through the night. To the people around him, he seemed steady. He worked hard, paid his bills, answered politely, and rarely let anyone see how tired he really was. But inside, one sentence followed him everywhere. I am weak. He did not remember the first time he believed it. Maybe it began when he was young and learned to stay quiet. Maybe it grew after a failure he never forgave himself for. Maybe it came from someone else's voice and stayed long enough to become his own. But by the time he was grown, the sentence felt familiar, and because it was familiar, he rarely questioned it. At night, when the room became dark, the shadow returned. He would remember the times he did not speak up, the chances he avoided, the relationships where he gave too much and asked for too little. Each memory became another shape on the wall, and together they seemed to prove the same old story. I am weak. Then one night, as he drifted between waking and sleep, Michael imagined himself standing in a cave. In front of him was a wall, and on that wall moved the shadow of a man who looked small, tired, and afraid. The shadow lowered its head. The shadow carried weight. The shadow seemed to say, "This is who you are." For a moment, Michael believed it. But then he noticed something behind him. There was a candle. Not a great fire, not a dramatic light, but a small and steady flame burning in the dark. And when Michael turned toward it, he understood something simple and deep. The shadow was not his essence. It was only the shape created when old fear stood in front of inner light. The wall did not disappear. The cave did not vanish. Even the shadow did not leave all at once. But something more important changed. Michael stopped staring at it as if it were the truth of him. This is where freedom begins. Not when every painful memory is erased, and not when every old fear becomes silent forever, but when you stop bowing to the shadow as if it has the right to name you. The old story may still appear. The old sentence may still return before sleep, but now you can see it differently. You can say this is a shadow. You can say this is a memory. You can say this is a pattern I learned, not the truth of what I am. Tonight, you do not need to fight every shadow on the wall. Fighting a shadow only keeps your eyes fixed on it. Instead, you can turn, gently and quietly, toward the light that makes seeing possible. So allow your body to soften again. Let your breath become slow and even, and imagine yourself standing in that quiet cave of the mind. In front of you is a wall, and on that wall appears one old belief you have carried for too long. Let it take shape. Let it be visible. There is no need to fear it now. Maybe it says you are not worthy. Maybe it says you are too late. Maybe it says you cannot change. Whatever form it takes, look at it calmly, as something you can witness without becoming. Now begin to turn away from the wall. Behind you, a small candle is burning. This candle is your awareness. It is the part of you that can notice a thought without becoming the thought. The part that can feel fear without obeying it. The part that has remained quietly present beneath every identity you once believed. As you face the candle, say within yourself, I am not the shadow. Take a slow breath and let the words settle deeper. I am the one who can turn toward the light. Now feel the old image becoming lighter. It does not need to be destroyed. It only needs to lose the authority you once gave it. Let it become what it always was, a passing shape, a memory, an echo, a shadow made larger by darkness. You do not need to prove anything to the shadow tonight. You only need to stop calling it your name. The light is still here, and you are beginning to remember where it is. Chapter 3. The Inner Citadel Before Sleep. As you turn away from the shadow and begin to remember the light, you may notice another place forming quietly within you. It is not a place you need to search for with effort. It is not far away, and it does not belong to some future version of your life where everything is finally perfect. It is already here, beneath the noise of the day, beneath the opinions of others, beneath the long list of things you could not control. The ancient Stoics spoke often of this inner place. They understood that the outer world is never fully ours to command. People may misunderstand you. Plans may change. The past may leave marks. The future may remain uncertain no matter how carefully you try to imagine it. But within every person, there is a quiet citadel, a protected space where your attention, your breath, your response, and your inner posture still belong to you. Before sleep, this matters deeply. Because many people do not fall asleep in their own inner home. They fall asleep inside unfinished conversations, inside imagined arguments, inside old regrets, inside tomorrow's fears. The body lies in bed, but the mind is still standing outside in the weather, trying to control a world that has already moved beyond the reach of the night. Sarah knew this feeling well. She lived in Boston, in an old apartment where the winter wind pressed softly against the windows. By day, she seemed organized and capable. She kept her calendar full, answered emails quickly, and tried to be the kind of person no one had to worry about. But every night, when the lights went out, her mind returned to everything she could not finish. She replayed conversations from work, wondering if one sentence had sounded strange. She thought about messages she had not answered with enough warmth. She imagined problems that had not happened yet, and then she blamed herself for not being prepared for them. Even in bed, wrapped in blankets, she felt as if she were still standing in the middle of a storm. One night, too exhausted to continue the same ritual of worry, Sarah closed her eyes and imagined a stone citadel inside her chest. It was not cold or severe. It was quiet, solid, and warm with a low golden light. Outside its walls, the storm continued. There were voices in the wind, unfinished duties, memories asking to be judged again, and fears pretending to be warnings. But inside the citadel, there was a small room with a chair, a candle, and enough silence for one honest breath. Sarah stepped inside. For the first time that night, she did not try to stop the storm. She did not need to answer every voice outside the wall. She simply understood that not everything knocking at the gate deserved to enter. This is the wisdom of the inner citadel. Peace does not begin when the world finally becomes quiet. Peace begins when you stop giving the entire world permission to live inside your nervous system. There are things that belong to you, and there are things that do not. Your breath belongs to you. Your attention belongs to you. The way you speak to yourself before sleep belongs to you. But the judgment of others, the shape of yesterday, the timing of tomorrow, and the endless movement of life outside your control do not need to be carried into the deepest part of the night. Tonight you are allowed to return to what was yours. So let your body rest a little more. Feel the surface beneath you holding your weight. Let your shoulders soften, not because every problem has disappeared, but because this moment does not require you to carry all of them at once. Let the muscles in your face release, and let your breath become the quiet path back into yourself. Imagine now that inside your chest there is a citadel made of warm stone and soft light. Its walls are not built from fear. They are built from clarity. They do not shut out life. They simply protect the sacred space where your deeper self can breathe. Outside the gate, you may hear the old worries calling. A task left unfinished. A conversation you wish had gone differently. A future you cannot fully predict. Let them remain outside for now. You are not abandoning your life. You are resting from the illusion that you must solve all of it before you are allowed to sleep. Now in your mind, place one hand on the gate of the citadel and say quietly, I release what is not mine to carry tonight. Take a slow breath in and feel the words move through the body. Then exhale gently and say, I return to the place within me that cannot be taken. Let this become your shelter for the night. Not an escape, but a remembering. Not a refusal of life, but a return to the part of you that can meet life without being consumed by it. The storm may continue outside for a while, but you are no longer sleeping in the storm. You are inside the citadel now, where the candle is still burning, where the breath is still yours, and where the old world can wait until morning. Chapter 4. The river that does not force. Now that you are inside the quiet citadel, where the breath is still yours and the candle still burns, you may begin to notice something softer waiting beyond the walls. A sound, not the sound of the storm, not the sound of old thoughts calling from outside the gate, but the sound of water moving in the dark. Somewhere within you there is a river. It does not rush to prove itself. It does not argue with the stones. It does not stop every time the path bends, and it does not hate itself when the way forward is not straight. The river simply continues, finding a space where remembering these only small echoes, moving with a patience that is older than fear. This is the wisdom of the Tao. The ancient Taoist masters understood something that the restless mind often forgets. Not everything grows stronger through force. Some things become powerful because they stop fighting their own nature. Water is soft, yet over time it shapes the mountain. It yields, yet it cannot be held back forever. It does not need to announce its strength, because its strength is hidden inside its willingness to keep flowing. And perhaps this is what your transformation needs tonight. Not more pressure, not more self-criticism, not another promise that tomorrow you will become perfect by sheer force of will. Perhaps what you need is a deeper kind of movement, one that does not come from attacking the old self, but from gently withdrawing your energy from everything that keeps it alive. Daniel had spent many years trying to change by force. He lived in Denver, where the mountains stood quietly in the distance, reminding him of something steady he could never quite feel inside himself. Every January he made new plans. Every Sunday night he promised he would finally become disciplined, confident, unshakable. He bought notebooks, built routines, watched lectures, and filled his walls with reminders of who he was supposed to become. But underneath all of it, he was not changing from love. He was changing from shame. Every time he slipped, he spoke to himself as if he were an enemy. Every time he felt afraid, he pushed harder. Every time he became tired, he called it weakness. And the harder he tried to become a new person, the more trapped he felt inside the old one. One night, after another day of trying to force his life into a shape it was not ready to hold, Daniel fell asleep with a heavy chest and dreamed of a river. It was night in the dream. The sky was deep blue, and the moon rested over the water like a quiet witness. Daniel stood on the bank, watching the river move around stones, branches, and fallen trees. It did not stop to complain. It did not turn against itself because something stood in the way. It curved, it widened, it narrowed, it continued. Then he noticed something strange. The river was not weak because it yielded. It was free because it did not waste itself fighting what could be moved around. When Daniel woke, nothing outside had changed. The same responsibilities waited for him. The same unanswered questions remained. But something in his body felt different. For the first time in a long while, he wondered whether change could happen without violence against himself. That was the beginning, not the end of his fear, not the instant arrival of a perfect new life, but the beginning of a gentler path. Tonight, you are invited into that same wisdom. You do not need to force new self to appear. You do not need to drag yourself into a better future by punishing the version of you that survived the past. The old self may have carried you through seasons you did not know how to survive any other way. It may have used fear because it did not know safety. It may have used control because it did not trust life. It may have used tension because relaxation once felt dangerous. So instead of hating it, let it soften. Instead of fighting it, let it flow away. Imagine now that you are standing beside a dark river under moonlight. The air is cool and still. The water moves slowly, carrying silver lines of light across its surface. In your hands, you are holding a small leaf. On this leaf, place one thing you have been trying too hard to control: a fear, a memory, a person's opinion, a version of yourself you are exhausted from maintaining. You do not need to explain it. You do not need to solve it. You only need to recognize that, for tonight, it does not belong inside your body. Place the leaf gently on the river. Watch the water receive it without judgment. The river does not ask why you carried it for so long. It does not ask why you could not release it sooner. It simply takes what you are ready to let go of and carries it farther from the shore. Take a slow breath in, and as you exhale, say quietly within yourself, "I do not force the new self." Let the words move through your body like water finding its path. Now breathe again, softer this time. "I allow the old self to flow away." Do not rush the release. Let it be gradual. Let it be natural. Let it happen the way night becomes morning, not by command but by quiet continuation. The river is still moving. The leaf is drifting farther now. And as it disappears into the moonlit dark, you may begin to feel that transformation does not always arrive as a battle. Sometimes it arrives as a surrender so deep, so gentle, and so honest that the old pattern no longer has anything to hold on to. Tonight, you do not need to push the river. You only need to stop standing against it. Let it carry what is heavy. Let it teach you how to move. Let it remind you that what is soft can still be powerful, and what is quiet can still reach the sea. Chapter 5. As within, so before dawn, after the river carries away what you no longer need to hold, the night becomes quieter, not empty, quieter. The kind of quiet that comes after release, when the body realizes it does not have to keep gripping the same fear with the same tired hands. Somewhere behind you, the river is still moving beneath the moonlight, carrying the old weight farther into the dark. And now, in the space it leaves behind, something delicate begins to appear. A small bowl of water. It rests before you on a stone table, clear and still, touched by the silver light of the moon. Nothing about it is dramatic. It does not command your attention. It simply waits, reflecting whatever leans over it. This is the teaching hidden inside the night. The ancient Hermetic tradition expressed it in a simple phrase: as within, so without. Not as a rule of blame, and not as a way to deny the pain of real life, but as a reminder that the world you carry inside you shapes the way you meet the world outside you. The same morning can feel different, depending on the state that wakes up within you. The same challenge can become heavier or lighter, depending on the voice that interprets it. The same silence can feel like rejection to oneself and peace to another. Before dawn, the inner world is being prepared. And this is why the final atmosphere of your mind before sleep matters so much. Grace understood this only after many restless nights. She lived in Portland, in a small house where the rain often arrived gently, as if the sky were speaking in whispers. Each night before bed, she would sit by the window with a glass of water in her hands. At first, it was not a ritual. It was just something she did because she did not know what else to do with the heaviness inside her. Her days were full of ordinary things: work, groceries, messages, small disappointments, quiet responsibilities no one praised her for carrying. But by the time night came, Grace often felt as though the outside world had entered her completely. Other people's moods lived in her chest. Unfinished tasks lived behind her eyes. Old conversations played through her mind as if they were still happening. One evening, while holding that glass of water, she noticed how easily its surface changed. A small movement of her hand, and the water trembled. A slower breath, and it became still again. She looked at the water and wondered, what am I placing inside myself before sleep? The question did not accuse her. It opened something. She began to realize that most nights she was carrying the whole day into the deepest part of her mind without choosing what belonged there. She was letting irritation be the last taste in her body. She was letting fear be the final instruction. She was letting old disappointment lie down beside her like a familiar companion. So she changed one small thing. Before sleep, Grace would sit quietly and imagine her inner world as a bowl of moonlit water. If the water was disturbed, she did not shame it for moving. She simply breathed with it. She allowed the ripples to slow. Then she would place one new feeling into that stillness. Not a demand, not a desperate wish. Just one clear inner atmosphere, peace, trust, enoughness. A quiet willingness to wake differently. At first, nothing outside changed in a way anyone else could measure. The rain still came. The bills still arrived. People were still people, unpredictable and unfinished. But Grace began to notice that her first response in the morning was becoming softer. She did not reach for worry as quickly. She did not believe every anxious thought as immediately. Something inside her had become less crowded, and because of that, the world felt less hostile. This is how inner change begins. Not always by rearranging the outer world, but by changing the state from which you meet it. Tonight, as you rest, you are not being asked to pretend that life has no difficulty. You are not being asked to call pain beautiful or to force yourself into false positivity. You are simply being invited to choose what you place into the deeper mind before sleep receives you. Because before dawn, the subconscious listens. It listens not only to your words, but to your emotional atmosphere. It listens to the image you hold of yourself. It listens to the feeling you return to most often. And if, night after night, the inner world is filled only with fear, the morning will often arrive through the language of fear. But tonight, you can offer it something different. So imagine the bowl of moonlit water before you now. See it clearly, resting in the quiet. The surface may not be perfectly still at first, and that is all right. Let every ripple represent something that moved through you today. A worry, a disappointment, a moment of pressure, a thought that tried to become your identity. Do not fight the ripples, breathe with them. Inhale slowly and imagine silver light entering the body. Exhale gently and watch the water become calmer. Again breathe in. And as you breathe out, let the surface grow smoother. Now place one feeling into the bowl. Choose peace if you are tired of fighting. Choose trust if you are tired of controlling. Choose worthiness if you are tired of proving. Choose calm power if you are tired of shrinking. Let that feeling enter the water like a soft light spreading from the center. And now say quietly within yourself, as within, so before dawn. Take a slow breath. Tonight, I choose peace within. Let the words settle there, not as pressure, but as a seed of inner order. The outer world may still need time to change. Morning may still bring ordinary responsibilities, familiar rooms, and unfinished questions. But the one who wakes to meet them does not have to be exactly the same as the one who carried fear into sleep last night. The bowl is still now. The moon is still reflected in it. And somewhere beneath the surface of your mind, a new inner world has begun to arrange itself before dawn. Chapter 6. The Garden of Repeated Thought. After the bowl of moonlit water becomes still, the night opens into a different kind of place. A garden. Not a bright garden under the sun, full of noise and movement, but a quiet garden beneath the stars, where the soil is dark, soft, and waiting. Nothing here is rushed. Nothing here grows because someone commands it to grow. The roots move in silence. The seeds open where no eye can see them. The deepest work happens beneath the surface. This is how the mind changes. Not only through one powerful thought, and not only through one emotional night, but through repetition. What returns often enough becomes familiar. What becomes familiar begins to feel natural. And what feels natural over time becomes part of who you believe yourself to be. Aristotle understood that a person is shaped by what they repeatedly practice. Not simply by what they wish or what they say once when hope is strong, but by what they return to again and again. Character is not formed in one dramatic moment. It is formed quietly through the repeated direction of attention, action, and inner speech. And before repetition becomes especially powerful, because the thought you repeat at the edge of sleep is not just a sentence, it is a seed. Anthony learned this without meaning to. He lived in Austin, in a small apartment where the summer heat stayed in the walls long after sunset. Every night before he slept, he would think the same thing. Tomorrow is going to be hard. He did not say it with drama. He did not even notice it most of the time. It was simply the last sentence his mind offered him. After a long day of work, bills, traffic, and quiet pressure, the words arrived like an old companion sitting at the edge of the bed. Tomorrow is going to be hard. And because he carried that thought into sleep, he often woke up already bracing himself. Before his feet touched the floor, his body was preparing for difficulty. His shoulders tightened. His mind searched for problems. His morning had not begun yet, but the garden inside him had already grown the first weed of the day. For a long time, Anthony thought this was realism. He told himself he was simply being honest about life. But one evening, after feeling tired in a way rest did not seem to fix, he asked himself a quiet question. What am I planting every night? The question stayed with him. That night, instead of repeating the old sentence, he imagined a garden inside his mind. He saw the soil under moonlight, still and open. He saw the old thought like a seed in his hand. Tomorrow is going to be hard. For the first time, he did not throw it into the soil automatically. He looked at it, noticed how familiar it felt, and understood that familiar does not always mean true. Then he chose another seed. Tomorrow I meet life with calm strength. At first, the new sentence felt strange. It did not feel completely believable. It did not erase his problems. It did not turn him into a different person in one breath. But it was not meant to be a performance. It was a seed, and seeds do not need to look like forests when they first enter the ground. So he repeated it slowly. Tomorrow I meet life with calm strength. Night after night, he returned to it. Some evenings he believed it. Some evenings he only wanted to believe it. Some evenings he was too tired to feel anything at all, but he still placed the seed into the soil and let sleep cover it. And slowly something changed, not loudly, not all at once. But one morning when a problem appeared, Anthony noticed a pause before panic. Another morning he answered a difficult message without rushing into fear. Another day he realized that life was still imperfect, but he was no longer meeting it from the same inner posture. The garden had begun to change. This is the quiet law of repeated thought. Whatever you plant once may touch the soil, but whatever you plant again and again begins to grow roots. Tonight you are standing in your own inner garden. Around you may be old growth, beliefs that were planted by fear, habits that grew from survival, sentences you never chose but somehow kept watering. You do not need to hate them. You do not need to tear up the entire garden before morning. You only need to stop planting the same seed with the same unconscious hand. So let your breath slow down again. Imagine the night garden within you. The soil is dark and ready. Above it, the stars are quiet. Around you, there is enough space to choose differently. In your hands, see one old thought you have repeated for too long. Maybe it says, I am not enough. Maybe it says, nothing changes for me. Maybe it says, I always return to the same place. Hold it gently. See it clearly. This thought may have been with you for years, but tonight, you do not have to plant it again. Now let it dissolve in your palm like dust, and choose a new seed, a simple one, a true one. A sentence that does not force you, but guides you. I am becoming calm. I am safe to change. I meet tomorrow with quiet strength. I am allowed to grow into someone new. Choose the sentence that feels soft enough to enter the body and steady enough to return to. Now place that seed into the soil of the garden. Cover it with your breath. Let the moonlight rest over it, and say quietly within yourself, what I repeat I become familiar with. Take a slow breath. What I become familiar with I begin to embody. Breathe again. Tonight, I plant the thought of the person I am becoming. There is no need to dig it up and check if it is working. There is no need to force belief before belief has had time to grow. Simply let the seed remain where you placed it. Sleep will cover it. Silence will protect it. And beneath the surface, in the hidden garden of the subconscious, a new thought is beginning to take root. Chapter 7, The Candle of Quiet Rule. After you place the new seed into the garden of the mind, the night grows even softer. The soil is quiet now. The moonlight rests over what you have planted. And somewhere in the deeper field of the subconscious, a new thought has begun to take root. But even in the quiet, old winds may still move through you. A doubt may pass, a fear may return. A familiar voice may whisper that this will not work, that you have tried before, that change is too fragile to trust. And this is why within the garden there is also a candle, not a great fire, not a flame that tries to defeat the darkness, just one small steady light. This is the candle of quiet rule. The ancient Stoics understood that real strength does not always look dramatic from the outside. It is not always loud confidence. perfect discipline, or a life untouched by fear. Sometimes strength is much simpler than that. It is the ability to keep one inner flame alive, even when the room around you is dark. It is the power to choose your response before the old pattern chooses it for you. There is a kind of rule that does not control others. It rules the inner kingdom. It says, this thought may appear, but it does not have to lead me. This emotion may rise, but it does not have to become my identity. This fear may knock at the door, but I do not have to hand it the keys to my whole night. Rebecca learned this during a season when every morning felt heavy before it even began. She lived in New York, in an apartment where the city never became completely silent. Even late at night, there were distant sirens, footsteps on the sidewalk, voices rising from the street below, and the low hum of a world that seemed unable to rest. By day, Rebecca moved through that world quickly. She answered messages, made decisions, crossed busy streets, and tried to keep up with a life that always seemed to ask for more. But at night, when she finally lay down, the speed of the city moved inside her. Her thoughts did not become quiet just because the room became dark. They circled through everything she had done wrong, everything she still needed to do, everything that might fall apart if she stopped holding it together. She wanted to feel strong, but most nights she only felt tired from pretending that she was. Then one evening, instead of trying to silence the whole mind, Rebecca imagined a single candle burning inside her chest. It was not large. It did not fill the room with light, but it was steady. At first, her old thoughts moved around it like wind. One thought said, "You are not ready." Another said, "You always lose control." Another said, "Tomorrow will be too much." Rebecca did not fight them. She did not argue with every voice. She simply returned her attention to the flame. The candle became her practice. Each night she would breathe and imagine protecting that small light, not with tension, but with presence. She began to understand that she did not need to feel powerful in every part of herself. She only needed one place within her that was not ruled by fear, and slowly, that one place grew. Not because the city became quiet, not because life stopped asking difficult things of her, but because she stopped letting every passing thought become the ruler of her inner world. Tonight, you are invited to find that same candle. You do not need to be completely fearless before you sleep. You do not need to believe every affirmation perfectly. You do not need to feel certain in every part of your body. It is enough to find one small place within you that can remain steady while everything else softens. So take a slow breath in. Let the breath move gently into the center of your chest. And as you breathe out, imagine a candle appearing there, protected inside a quiet room of the heart. Its flame is small but alive. Around it, old thoughts may still move. Let them move. You do not have to chase them. You do not have to obey them. You do not even have to make them disappear. Your only task tonight is to return to the flame. Feel its quiet warmth. Feel its simple authority. This is the part of you that can witness fear without becoming fear. This is the part of you that can feel uncertainty without surrendering your whole future to it. This is the part of you that remembers, a thought is not a command, and an emotion is not a king. Now say within yourself, I do not need to become everything tonight. Take a slow breath. I only need to keep this light alive. Let those words settle gently. Again, I do not need to become everything tonight. And softer now, I only need to keep this light alive. The candle does not ask you to be perfect. It only asks you to return. Return when the mind wanders. Return when fear speaks. Return when the old self tries to take the throne again. Because quiet rule is not domination. It is remembrance. It is the calm decision to let the deepest part of you guide the night, rather than the loudest part of you. The candle is still burning. The garden is still resting. And within you, a new kind of strength is learning how to stay. Chapter 8. The letter from the higher self. The candle is still burning within you, small, steady, and alive. And as its quiet light rests over the garden of your mind, another image begins to form in the night. It appears slowly, as if it has been waiting for the room inside you to become silent enough to notice it. A letter. It rests on a wooden table beneath the moonlight, folded carefully, with your name written across the front. Not the name the world has shouted at you. Not the name fear has used, not the name old failure has tried to carve into your identity, but the name your soul still recognizes beneath everything you have survived. This letter is from the higher self, not a stranger, not a perfect version of you standing far away, looking down with judgment. The higher self is quieter than that. It is the part of you that has always known there is more to you than the pattern you keep repeating. It is the deeper intelligence beneath fear, the calm witness beneath reaction, the clear flame beneath confusion. Plotinus, the ancient philosopher, believed that the soul's journey was not only about becoming something new, but about returning to a higher source already within it. In that sense, transformation is not always an act of invention. Sometimes it is an act of remembering. You are not creating a false self tonight. You are remembering a truer one. Mia once had a dream like this. She lived in San Diego, in a quiet room where the ocean air sometimes moved through the curtains before dawn. From the outside, her life looked gentle enough. She had work, friends, responsibilities, and a smile that could make people believe she was doing fine. But inside, she often felt separated from herself, as if the person she showed the world and the person she felt within her heart had slowly drifted apart. For years, she thought she needed to become someone entirely different, more confident, more disciplined, more impressive, more untouched by the past. She thought the future self was far away, standing at the top of some invisible mountain, waiting for her to become worthy enough to arrive. And because she believed that, every attempt to change felt heavy. Each goal became another measurement of how far she still had to go. Then one night, as she was drifting into sleep, Mia dreamed of a letter on a table near an open window. Moonlight rested over it, and the room was filled with a silence so soft it seemed to breathe with her. She picked up the letter and opened it. Inside, there was only one line. "You are not becoming someone else. You are returning to what fear made you forget." Mia read the sentence again and again, not because it was complicated, but because something in her body understood it before her mind could explain it. She realized that the version of herself she had been chasing was not a stranger in the distance. It was the calmness she had felt as a child before she learned to doubt every part of herself. It was the courage that appeared in brief moments when she spoke honestly. It was the warmth she still offered others, even when she struggled to offer it to herself. The higher self had not abandoned her. It had only been covered by noise, covered by fear, covered by years of trying to become acceptable to a world that kept changing its requirements. And perhaps the same is true for you. The person you are becoming may not be someone far away from you. It may be the part of you that has been waiting underneath the old sentence, underneath the shadow on the wall, underneath the pressure to force the river, underneath the belief that you must earn the right to rest. Tonight, imagine the letter before you. See it resting in moonlight. See your name written on it with gentleness. When you open it, do not expect many words. The deepest truths rarely need to speak loudly. Let the letter say, "You are not late." Let it say, "You are not broken." Let it say, "You do not have to become a stranger to be free." Breathe slowly and allow those words to move into the body. The higher self is not demanding that you change overnight. It is not standing above you with disappointment. It is beside you, placing one calm hand on your shoulder, reminding you that a new life begins when you stop mistaking fear for identity. Now, in the quiet of this moment, hear that deeper part of you speak. "I have been here beneath the noise." Take a slow breath. "I have been waiting for you to remember." And now, softer you are becoming, but you are also returning. Let the letter remain open in the moonlight. Let its message settle into the garden, into the candlelight, into the deepest room of the subconscious. You do not need to understand the whole path tonight. You only need to receive the possibility that the truest part of you has never been lost. It has been waiting, and now gently you are beginning to answer. Chapter 9, The Seed Beneath the Moonlight. The letter from the higher self remains open in the quiet. Its message does not rush you. It does not demand that you become someone different before the night is over. It simply reminds you that the truest part of you has never been lost, only covered. And now, beneath the moonlight, you are ready to place something new into the deeper soil of the mind. Before you, the garden appears again. The same night garden you entered before, but now it feels softer, more prepared, as if the river has carried away enough weight, the candle has given enough light, and the letter has opened enough space for one new seed to be planted. In your hand there is a small silver seed. It is not large, it does not look powerful. It does not announce the future it carries. And yet, inside this tiny thing, there is a whole unseen life waiting for the right conditions. This is the mystery of every seed. It does not become a tree by force. It does not open because someone commands it to open. It does not grow faster because it is watched with anxiety. A seed grows in darkness, in patience, in trust, and in the quiet cooperation between what is hidden and what is becoming. The same is true inside you. Tonight, the new self does not need to be dragged into existence. It only needs to be planted with enough calmness that the subconscious can receive it. Thomas understood this in a simple way. He was an old gardener in Vermont, living near a field where the mornings were often covered in mist and the evenings smelled of earth and cold grass. He had spent most of his life planting things other people never saw until much later. Apple trees, herbs, winter bulbs, seeds so small they looked almost meaningless in the palm of his hand. A young neighbor once asked him how he knew the seeds were working after he buried them. Thomas smiled and said, "I do not dig them up every night to check." The neighbor laughed, but Thomas was serious. He knew that if he planted a seed and pulled it from the soil again and again to see whether roots had formed, he would destroy the very process he was trying to witness. The seed needed darkness. It needed covering. It needed time away from the anxious eye. And perhaps this is where many people interrupt their own transformation. They plant a new thought, then immediately ask if it is working. They whisper a new identity, then search the morning for proof. They choose a new belief, then dig through the soil of the mind before the roots have had a chance to form. But tonight, you do not need to check the seed. You only need to plant it. A new identity begins as something very small, a quieter response, a gentler inner voice, a willingness to pause before believing the old fear, a feeling that maybe you are not trapped in the same story forever. Small does not mean powerless. Small is often how the deepest things begin. So now, imagine the silver seed resting in your palm. Let it represent the person you are becoming. Not a perfect person, not a stranger, not someone who never feels fear, doubt, sadness, or uncertainty. Let it represent the version of you who returns to peace more easily, trusts the light more often, and no longer calls the shadow by your name. Bring the seed close to your heart. Let it absorb the warmth of your breath, and quietly choose what you are planting tonight. Maybe you are planting calm. Maybe you are planting worthiness. Maybe you are planting courage. Maybe you are planting the belief that change can happen without violence against yourself. When you are ready, kneel in the garden of the mind and place the seed into the dark soil. Cover it gently. Do not bury it with desperation. Do not press it down with fear. Cover it the way the earth covers something sacred. Now let the moonlight rest over the place where it has been planted. Take a slow breath in, and as you exhale, say within yourself, "The new self is planted." Breathe again softly. I do not need to force it, and now even quieter, I allow it to grow. Let those words sink into the soil. Let them move beneath thought, beneath effort, beneath the part of you that wants immediate proof. Tonight, your work is not to watch the roots. Your work is to trust the planting. The subconscious knows how to receive repetition. The body knows how to learn safety. The heart knows how to return to what is true when it is no longer rushed. So leave the seed where it is. Let sleep cover it. Let silence protect it. Let the night do what daylight cannot always do. And somewhere beneath the moonlit soil of your deeper mind, the smallest beginning of a new self is already taking root. Chapter 10. The Bridge Between Dream and Dawn. The seed has been planted beneath the moonlight. You do not need to dig it up. You do not need to ask whether it is working. You do not need to force the roots to appear before their time. The garden knows what to do in darkness, and the deeper mind knows how to receive what has been offered with calm repetition. Now the night opens again. Ahead of you, through the soft mist of the inner world, a bridge begins to appear. It is not made of stone, and it is not built by effort. It seems to form from golden light, plank by plank, stretching across the quiet space between dream and dawn. Behind you is the old story, the shadow on the wall, the thoughts you had carried for too long, the version of yourself that tried to survive by holding everything tightly. In front of you is morning, not fully visible yet, but glowing faintly beyond the mist. This is the bridge between who you have been repeating and who you are beginning to become. In ancient wisdom, the soul was often seen as something that does not only learn, but remembers. Plato spoke of knowledge as a kind of remembering, as if the deepest part of us already knows truths the surface mind has forgotten. And perhaps the new self is like that, not a stranger waiting far away, but a truth within you that sleep helps you remember when the noise of the day becomes quiet enough. You do not have to see the entire bridge tonight. You only need to take the next step. Noah once dreamed of such a bridge. He lived in Minneapolis, where winter mornings could turn the whole city pale and silent. For years, he had felt caught between two versions of himself. One version knew how to keep going. It knew how to answer messages, finish tasks, show up on time, and carry the shape of a life that looked stable enough from the outside. But another version of him was quieter. It wanted peace. It wanted honesty. It wanted to stop waking up already tense, already bracing for disappointment, already listening for the old voice that said, "Nothing really changes." One night, after a long season of pretending he was fine, Noah fell asleep and found himself standing before a bridge made of soft golden light. It stretched across a wide valley filled with mist. He could not see the other side clearly, and because he could not see it, he hesitated. The old part of him wanted certainty before movement. It wanted proof before trust. It wanted the whole path revealed before the first step was taken. But the bridge did not work that way. When Noah stood still, only the first few steps were visible. The rest remained hidden in the mist. Yet when he placed one foot on the bridge, another plank of light appeared. When he took another step, the bridge continued. It did not reveal itself all at once. It revealed itself through his willingness to move. And as he walked, he noticed something strange. The bridge was not taking him away from himself. It was bringing him back to a feeling he had almost forgotten, the feeling of being guided from within. When Noah woke the next morning, his life had not transformed in any dramatic way. The same city waited outside the window. The same responsibilities remained. But something inside him had shifted. He no longer needed to know the entire future before choosing one calmer thought. He no longer needed to feel completely healed before taking one honest breath. He no longer needed to become the finished version of himself before walking toward it. This is how the bridge works. It does not ask you to become new all at once. It asks you to stop turning back every time the old self calls your name. It asks you to trust that a path can appear beneath your feet while you are still learning how to walk it. Tonight, you are standing on that bridge. Behind you are the patterns that once felt like home because they were familiar. The worry before sleep, the self-criticism after mistakes. The habit of expecting pain before peace has a chance to arrive. You do not need to hate these things. You only need to understand that familiarity is not the same as destiny. Ahead of you is dawn, not a perfect dawn, not a life without difficulty, but a morning in which you may meet yourself differently. A morning in which the old thought may appear, and you may not follow it as quickly. A morning in which fear may speak, and you may remember the candle. A morning in which the world may still be unfinished, but you are no longer carrying it from the same inner place. So let your body become heavier now. Let the bed hold you. Let the breath move slowly and naturally, as if each exhale is placing one foot on the bridge. Imagine the golden bridge before you. Behind you, the old story begins to fade into mist. In front of you, dawn glows softly, waiting without pressure. Take one step. With that step, say quietly within yourself, I cross from fear into trust. Breathe slowly. Take another step. I cross from the old story into the new self. Let the words move through you gently. Do not force them to feel powerful. Let them feel true enough for tonight. Another step. I do not need to see the whole path. And another. I only need to keep walking toward the light. The bridge holds you. The mist does not need to disappear before you continue. The uncertainty does not mean you are lost. It only means you are moving through the space where the old self no longer fully defines you, and the new self is still becoming familiar. This is a sacred in-between, the place between dream and dawn, the place where the subconscious carries the seed, the candle keeps its quiet flame, the river continues to move, and the higher self waits with patience rather than pressure. Keep walking softly now. Let each breath become another step. Let each step become another quiet agreement with the person you are becoming. And as the golden bridge stretches farther into the mist, allow yourself to understand this. You do not need to wake up tomorrow with every answer. You only need to wake up with one small space inside you where the old reaction no longer owns the whole room. That space is enough. That space is the beginning. And somewhere ahead, beyond the mist, dawn has already started to recognize you. Chapter 11, The Room of Gentle Echoes. As you continue across the bridge between dream and dawn, the golden mist begins to soften around you. The old story is farther behind now. The morning is not fully here yet. And between the two, a quiet room appears. It is not a room you enter with your body. It is a room within the deeper mind, where every word you have spoken to yourself has left an echo. Some echoes are gentle, some are heavy, some are so familiar that you no longer notice them, even though they have been shaping the way you feel, choose, and wake each morning. This is the room of gentle echoes. The ancient philosopher Aristotle understood that we become shaped by what we repeatedly do. But repetition is not only action. It is also the way you speak to yourself when no one else is listening. The sentences you return to in silence become inner habits. The inner habits become emotional posture. And over time, that posture becomes part of the person you believe yourself to be. This is why the words before sleep matter. Not because one sentence controls your whole life, and not because you must speak perfectly in order to change, but because the mind becomes familiar with what it hears again and again. A harsh sentence repeated every night can become a wall. A gentle truth repeated with patience can become a doorway. Lily learned this during a season when her nights felt louder than her days. She lived in Nashville, in a small apartment where music sometimes drifted from distant streets, soft and unfinished, like someone practicing a song through an open window. During the day, Lily could move through life well enough. She worked. She laughed when the moment called for laughter. She knew how to seem fine. But at night, when the room became still, her inner voice became sharp. It would replay everything she had done imperfectly. It would remind her of words she wished she had said differently. It would tell her she was too sensitive, too slow, too far behind, too difficult to love. None of these sentences arrived like a scream. They came quietly, almost casually, and perhaps that was why they were so powerful. One night, as she drifted near sleep, Lily imagined herself standing inside a room with pale walls. Every sentence she had repeated about herself appeared there as a soft echo. I should have known better. I always make things harder. I am too much. I am not enough. The echoes moved around the room, not attacking her, only repeating what they had been taught to repeat. For the first time, Lily did not try to silence them by force. She simply listened, and as she listened, she understood that these voices were not prophecies. They were habits, and habits can be changed. So Lily chose one sentence. Not a sentence that felt fake. Not a sentence so bright that her tired heart rejected it. Just one sentence gentle enough to believe for a single night. I am allowed to speak to myself with kindness. She whispered it once. The room did not transform immediately. She whispered it again. A small light appeared on one wall. She whispered it a third time, slower now, and the old echoes did not disappear, but they became less alone. Something new had entered the room. A different sound, a different pattern, a different instruction for the night. That was enough. Tonight you are standing in your own room of echoes. You may hear old words here, words you inherited, words you believed, words you used against yourself because you thought harshness would make you stronger. But you do not need to answer cruelty with cruelty. You do not need to shout over the old voice. You can simply introduce a new one, calmly and repeatedly, until the room begins to learn a different sound. So let your breath slow down. Imagine the room around you. The walls are soft, touched by moonlight. If an old sentence appears, let it appear. Do not chase it, do not fear it. Notice it as an echo, not a command. Now choose a gentler sentence. Say quietly within yourself, I am safe, breathe slowly. I am changing. Let the words move into the room. I am allowed to become new, and now even softer. I am no longer who fear said I was. Let each sentence become a small light on the wall. Let the room receive it. Let the deeper mind hear not pressure, but permission. You are not trying to erase every old echo tonight. You are teaching the room a new sound. And as the new words move through the quiet, they begin to settle into the places where the old voice once lived alone. The light spreads slowly, the walls soften, the air becomes easier to breathe. This is how a new inner language begins. One sentence, one breath, one gentle repetition before sleep. And somewhere in the room of your deeper mind, the echo of who you are becoming is beginning to sound familiar. Chapter 12. The Self That Flows Like Water. As the room of gentle echoes grows quiet, the words you have spoken begin to settle into the deeper mind. I am safe. I am changing. I am allowed to become new. They do not need to be loud to be received. They only need to be repeated with enough softness that the old voice no longer stands alone. And now, as those echoes fade into silence, you may notice the floor beneath you becoming less solid, as if the room itself is dissolving into moonlit water. The walls soften, the air becomes cool, and before you, beneath a sky filled with stars, a wide river begins to move. This river is different from the one that carried your worries away. That river taught release. This river teaches identity. It shows you that the self is not a stone fixed forever in one shape. It is more like water, moving, changing, remembering, forgetting, flowing around what it once believed could not be passed. The ancient Buddhist teachings often point toward this truth. What you call myself is not one solid thing. It is made of thoughts, memories, sensations, reactions, habits, fears, hopes, and stories, all moving together like currents in a river. And Taoist wisdom, in its own gentle way, reminds us that water does not lose itself when it changes shape. It becomes mist, rain, stream, river, ocean, and still it remains water. Perhaps you have been treating yourself like something frozen. Perhaps you have said, "This is just who I am," when what you really meant was, "This is who I have practiced being." Perhaps you have mistaken a repeated reaction for a permanent identity, or a survival pattern for your deepest nature. But tonight the river is here to remind you that what has been repeated can be redirected, and what has been hardened by fear can begin to move again. Emma once believed she was fixed. She lived in a small town in Maine, near the cold edge of the Atlantic, where fog often moved through the streets in the early morning, and the sea seemed to breathe against the rocks. From the outside, her life looked simple. She had routines, familiar places, familiar people, and a familiar way of answering whenever someone asked how she was. "I'm fine." But inside, Emma carried another sentence: "This is just who I am." She said it when she felt anxious. She said it when she pulled away from people who cared about her. She said it when she gave up too early, when she expected disappointment, when she returned to the same patterns and called them personality. The sentence sounded practical, almost honest, but underneath it was a quiet surrender. This is just who I am. One night, after a long day of feeling trapped inside her own reactions, Emma dreamed she was standing beside a river under a sky full of stars. The water was dark and beautiful, moving slowly enough for her to see its surface clearly. Then she noticed something written there: her name. It appeared across the water in pale silver letters. For a moment she felt comforted, as if the river itself knew her. But then the current moved, and the letters began to stretch, blur, and disappear. Emma reached down quickly, trying to hold the name in place. The more she tried to keep it still, the more the water broke apart beneath her hands. The letters vanished, the river continued. At first, she felt afraid. If even her name could dissolve what was left of her. But then the river grew calm again, and slowly new words appeared on the surface: calm, clear, worthy, free. Emma watched them move with the current, not fixed, not trapped, not carved into stone, but alive. And in the dream, she understood something that her waking mind had never allowed her to believe. She did not have to keep repeating the same self in order to remain real. She could change and still be herself. She could soften and still be strong. She could release an old identity without disappearing. This is the gift of water. It does not cling to one shape to prove that it exists. It trusts movement. It trusts the path. It trusts that becoming is not betrayal. In the same way, you are allowed to let old definitions dissolve. You are allowed to stop protecting the sentence that has kept you small. You are allowed to become less rigid, less defended, less afraid of your own transformation. Tonight, imagine yourself standing beside that river. The stars are above you. The water is moving slowly before you. The air is quiet, and nothing here is asking you to perform. Look down at the surface of the river and allow one old identity to appear there. Maybe it says, "I am anxious." Maybe it says, "I am always behind." Maybe it says, "I cannot change." Do not fight the words. Do not hate them. Just watch them as writing on water. Now let the current move. Let the letters loosen. Let the old sentence stretch, soften, and dissolve into the dark until it no longer holds the same shape inside you. Take a slow breath in, and as you exhale, allow the river to write something new. Calm, clear, worthy, free. Let the words float there without pressure. You do not need to become them perfectly tonight. You only need to let them become possible. Now say quietly within yourself, "I am not fixed in the shape of yesterday." Breathe slowly. I am allowed to flow into something new. And now softer, I can change and still be myself. Let the river carry these words through the deeper mind. Let them move through the garden, past the candle, beneath the bridge, into every quiet place where an old identity once felt permanent. You are not a stone. You are not a prison. You are not the final form of your fear. You are a living current, still moving, still learning, still capable of turning toward a wider sea. And tonight, as sleep draws you closer, the self that once felt frozen begins to flow again. Chapter 13. The sleeping mind rewrites itself. As the river carries the old identity into motion, the water begins to grow quiet again. The words remain somewhere inside you. I am not fixed in the shape of yesterday. I am allowed to flow into something new. I can change and still be myself. And now, as you drift deeper towards sleep, another place begins to appear beyond the riverbank. It rises slowly in the dark, not like a building made for the day, but like a hidden library that only opens at night. A library of the sleeping mind. Its shelves are tall and silent. Its lamps glow with a soft amber light. The air is still, and everywhere around you are books that seem to hold the stories you have told yourself for years. Some books are heavy. Some are worn from being opened too often. Some have titles you did not choose, but somehow learned to carry. I always fail. I am not enough. Nothing changes for me. I must be afraid to be safe. These books are not evil. They are not proof that something is wrong with you. They are only old records, old interpretations, old chapters written during seasons when you were trying to survive with the understanding you had at the time. But tonight, in the library of the sleeping mind, you are not here to burn the books. You are here to rewrite them. Ethan once dreamed of this library during a period of his life when every morning felt like a continuation of the same old story. He lived in a quiet town in Oregon, where tall trees stood outside his window and rain often moved through the streets before sunrise. From the outside, nothing seemed especially broken. He had a routine, he had work, he had people who knew his name. But inside, he felt as though his life had been written by sentences he no longer believed, yet still obeyed. Whenever something went wrong, his mind opened the same old book. This always happens to me. Whenever he wanted to try again, another book appeared. You will only disappoint yourself. And whenever he felt a small hope rising, a heavier volume seemed to fall open by itself. Do not expect too much. One night, as Ethan drifted into sleep, he found himself standing in a library lit by golden lamps. On the table before him were the books he knew too well. Their covers were dark. Their pages were filled with old fear, old shame, old conclusions made too early. At first, he felt the urge to destroy them. He wanted to tear out the pages, throw them away, prove that he was done with the past. But when he reached for one book, he noticed that the pages did not resist him. They were not carved in stone. They were paper, and paper can receive new words. So Ethan opened the book titled, I Always Fail. He did not deny every failure he had lived through. He did not pretend pain had never happened. He simply turned to a blank page and wrote a different sentence. I am learning how to begin again. The library grew quieter. Then he opened the book titled, I Am Not Enough, and on a new page he wrote, I am still becoming, and becoming is not the same as being broken. One by one, he did not erase the past. He added a new meaning beside it. And as he wrote, the old books became lighter, not because history had disappeared, but because it was no longer the only author in the room. This is what the sleeping mind can begin to do. When the conscious mind rests, the deeper mind continues to sort, connect, soften, and reorganize. It listens to the images you gave it. It receives the feelings you repeated. It carries the seed, the candle, the river, the bridge, the gentle echoes, and begins to arrange them into a new inner story. Tonight, imagine yourself standing in that quiet library. Before you is one book from your old life. You may see its title clearly. You may only feel its weight. Either way, let it appear without fear. This book may contain something you have believed for too long. Open it gently. Do not fight the old pages. Do not shame yourself for having carried them. Simply turn to a new page, a page that has been waiting for your permission. And now write in light. The person I am becoming. Let the words glow softly. Breathe slowly. On the first line, write, I am no longer only the story I used to repeat. On the next line, I am allowed to choose a gentler meaning. And now, one final line. Tonight, my deeper mind learns the way home to peace. Let the book remain open on the table. Let the golden lamps shine over it. Let the sleeping mind continue its quiet work without your effort. You do not need to stay awake to control the rewriting. You do not need to supervise every page. The new words have been placed inside, and the deeper part of you knows how to carry them through the night. The library is still. The old books are lighter now. And somewhere in the silence, the story of who you are becoming has already begun to write itself. Chapter 14, The Morning That Recognizes You. The library of the sleeping mind grows quiet now. The book remains open on the table, its new words resting beneath the golden lamps. And somewhere in the deepest part of you, the story has already begun to rearrange itself. Not with noise, not with urgency, not with the kind of effort that makes the body tense, but softly, the way night prepares the world for morning long before the sun appears. And now, beyond the windows of the inner world, a faint light begins to rise, dawn, not sudden, not dramatic, just a pale, gentle brightness touching the edge of the sky, as if the morning has been listening to everything you released, everything you planted, everything you allowed yourself to remember. This is the morning that recognizes you. It may not arrive with fireworks. It may not announce that your whole life has changed. It may not remove every responsibility, every memory, every difficult thing waiting in the outer world, but it may meet you in a quieter way, a softer breath before the first thought, a small pause before the old fear takes over, a moment where the familiar shadow appears and you do not immediately call it your name. That is how the new self often begins, not as a grand transformation that others can see right away, but as a new space inside you, a little more room between feeling and reaction, a little more kindness in the voice you use with yourself, a little less belief in the sentence that used to control the morning before your eyes were even open. Olivia discovered this on a morning that looked ordinary from the outside. She lived in a quiet town in North Carolina, where sunlight entered her bedroom through thin curtains and moved slowly across the floor. The day began like many others, the same phone on the nightstand, the same unfinished tasks, the same world waiting beyond the door. But something inside her met the morning differently. The old thought came as it usually did. You are already behind. For years, that sentence had been enough to shape her whole day. It would tighten her chest, hurry her breath, and send her reaching for control before she had even sat up. But this time something paused. Not a huge silence, just a small one, a space. And in that space, Olivia remembered the river, the candle, the garden, the bridge, the room of echoes, and the book that had begun to rewrite itself in the night. She did not argue with the old thought. She did not pretend it had never appeared. She simply noticed it and whispered, almost without planning to, "That is the old story." Then she placed one hand on her heart and took a slower breath. Nothing outside had changed yet. The room was the same. The day was the same. But the one meeting the day was not exactly the same. And sometimes that is the first miracle. Not that life becomes easier immediately, but that you stop entering it from the same wound. This is what you are preparing for now. A morning where you may recognize yourself in small ways. You may notice that your shoulders do not rise quite as quickly. You may hear the old fear and feel, somewhere beneath it, the candle still burning. You may face an ordinary moment and sense that a new response is possible. You may not become a completely different person in the way the world imagines, but you may become different enough to stop repeating the same beginning. And different enough is sacred. So before sleep takes you fully, imagine tomorrow morning. See the room where you will wake. See the first light entering softly. See yourself opening your eyes, not as someone who has to prove that this night worked, but as someone willing to notice the smallest evidence of inner change. A calmer first breath, a gentler first thought, a softer relationship with yourself, a quiet refusal to let yesterday speak for the whole future. Let that image become familiar. Let the deeper mind receive it, and now say within yourself, "Tomorrow I will recognize the new self in small ways." Take a slow breath. I do not need to be perfect to be different. And now even softer. One small change is enough to begin a new life. Let those words rest inside you. The dawn is not here yet, but it is already on its way. The seed is beneath the soil. The candle is still alive. The river still knows how to move. The bridge still holds. The book remains open. And when morning comes, it will not be searching for the person fear remembered. It will be looking for the one who listened tonight, the one who softened, the one who released the old name, the one who is quietly, gently already becoming new. Sleep as the new self begins, and now the journey of this night begins to grow quiet. You have walked through the door between waking and dreaming. You have turned away from the shadow on the wall. You have entered the inner citadel, listened to the river that does not force, placed peace into the bowl of moonlit water, and planted a new seed in the garden of the subconscious. You have protected the candle. You have opened the letter. You have crossed the bridge. You have entered the room of gentle echoes, watched the self flow like water, and placed new words inside the library of the sleeping mind. And now, as dawn waits somewhere beyond the darkness, there is nothing more you need to do. The work of the night does not ask for effort now. It asks for rest. So let your body become heavier, as if the earth beneath you knows exactly how to hold you. Let your shoulders release the shape of responsibility. Let your hands soften. Let your face become calm. Let the breath move naturally, without needing to be controlled, corrected, or watched too closely. You have carried enough for today, and tonight you are allowed to lay it down. The old self may still try to speak from far away. It may whisper that nothing has changed, that tomorrow will be the same, that you are still the person you have always been. But you do not need to argue with that voice. You do not need to prove anything to it before you sleep. You can simply let it pass like a shadow across the wall. You can let it drift like a leaf on the river. You can let it fade like an echo in a room that is learning a new sound, because something quieter has already begun. A new thought has been planted. A new image has been offered to the deeper mind. A new relationship with yourself has been touched, even if only gently, even if only for a few breaths. And sometimes that is how transformation begins. Not as a storm, not as a sudden breaking open, but as one honest moment in which you stop feeding the old story and allow another one to become possible. You are not trying to become a stranger. You are not abandoning yourself. You are not rejecting the version of you that survived pain, confusion, fear, and all the seasons when you did not know another way to live. You are simply allowing that version to rest. You are allowing the tightness to soften. You are allowing the old name to loosen. You are allowing the deepest part of you to rise from beneath the noise and remember that it was never truly gone. So now, let this final thought settle into you. You do not have to force the morning. You only have to sleep as the seed begins its quiet work. The garden is resting. The candle is still alive. The river is still moving. The bridge still holds beneath your feet. The book in the sleeping mind remains open, and the words written there are already being carried into the deeper places of you. If these words touched something quiet within you, return to this audio whenever the old self feels too loud. Let your subconscious hear it again. Let the new self become familiar, not through pressure, but through repetition, softness, and trust. And now there is no need to reach for anything, no need to solve anything, no need to become complete before you are allowed to rest. Just breathe. Let the night hold you. Let the old story grow distant. Let the deeper mind continue what has already begun. Sleep now, not as the person fear remembered, and not as the story yesterday repeated, but as the one who has opened the door, turned toward the light, planted the seed, and allowed the quiet beginning of a new self to rise. Sleep as the body softens. Sleep as the mind releases. Sleep as the heart remembers. And when morning comes, may you meet it gently, with one softer breath, one calmer thought, one small space where the old reaction no longer owns the whole room. That space is enough. That space is sacred. That space is where the new self begins.